Sutra. Moreover, elder, when beings who have committed karmic offenses die, their relatives may prepare vegetarian offerings to aid them on their karmic paths. In the process of preparing the vegetarian meal and before it has been eaten, rice, washing water, and vegetable leaves should not be thrown on the ground. Before the food is offered to the Buddhas and the Sangha, no one should eat it. If there is laxness or transgression in this matter, then the deceased will receive no strength from it. But if purity is rigorously maintained in making the offerings to the Buddhas and the Sangha, the deceased will receive 1/7 of the merit. Therefore, elder, by performing vegetarian offerings on behalf of deceased fathers, mothers, and other relatives, while making earnest supplication on their behalf, beings of Jambudvipa benefit both the living and the dead. After that was said, thousands of billions of Nayutas of ghosts and spirits of Jambudvipa who were in the palace of the Trayastrimsha Heaven made the unlimited resolve to attain Bodhi. The elder great eloquence made obeisance and withdrew. Commentary. The Star Bodhisattva again told the elder, "Moreover, elder, let me explain in detail for you as described earlier. When beings who have committed karmic offenses die, their family, friends, and relatives may prepare fine vegetarian offerings for the triple jewel to aid them on their karmic paths. They help to reduce their evil karma in the process of preparing the vegetarian meal and before it has been eaten. Rice, washing water, and vegetable leaves should not be thrown on the ground and wasted. Before the food is offered to the Buddhas and the Sangha, no one should eat it. This is why whatever is made in the temples or Buddha home must be offered to the Buddhas first. We are supposed to make some delicious foods to offer the Buddhas on the Buddha's birthday. People can only eat the food after it has been offered to the Buddhas. In China, offerings to the Buddhas are sometimes done with 3 bowls of rice and vegetables. They are placed squarely before the Buddhas instead of set aside casually. The 3 bowls need to be placed in the middle and neatly. The fruits too. Nothing else can be set down on the place where offerings for the Buddhas go. This is a form of respect. If you set things down casually, that is a sign of disrespect toward the Buddhas. Why? For instance, you put a bunch of things in a mess before someone. He will not be happy. People who are careless casually and live like a swine may be okay with it, but put a mess in front of someone who is neat and clean will make him upset. The Buddhas are very clean, so it is wrong for you to put a mess in front of the Buddhas. We can only place offerings of fruits and vegetables before the Buddhas and not anything else. Besides offerings with 3 bowls, there are also offerings using 5 bowls, 7 bowls, 9 bowls, or many bowls. Especially on days for offerings, several tables before the Buddhas are full with vegetarian dishes neatly lined up for the Buddhas. We do not just place a huge pile of something somewhere or leave a bag of unopened cookies before the Buddhas. That is not an offering to the Buddhas, but an insult to the Buddhas. Open or uncover offerings to the Buddhas rather than just leave them there wrapped in paper. That would not be an offering to the Buddhas. It is impolite to just leave things there. Even with people, you do not just set things down and say, "Eat." They will not eat it. In Chinese, has a phrase, "A gentleman does not eat food thrown at him." For instance, someone gives food to a beggar but condescendingly yells, "Hey, eat it." He will refuse the food thrown rudely at him, not to mention offerings to the Buddhas, sometimes left in closed bags. I have seen it many times, but I do not have so much time to explain these things. Now that the Buddha Dharma has come to the West, we must know about the ceremonies and the looks of them. Offering bowls must be squarely and neatly placed. Fruit offerings and vases must be placed properly. For instance, vases should balance each other. It does not look good if you should have one here but you place it somewhere else. There are rules to everything. How can we handle all these rules? If you cannot handle it, do not cultivate. Cultivation requires us to accord with the Dharma and to observe the rules. Furthermore, there are rules for monastics and there are rules for laity. Having left the home life, the senior disciple must listen to the master. The disciple second in seniority must listen to the most senior disciple. The disciple third in seniority must listen to the disciples first and second in seniority. We cannot dismiss our teachers and elders so that the senior disciple rejects the master's teachings. The disciple second in seniority must listen to his elder brother's teachings instead of slighting his fellow cultivator. The disciple third in seniority must obey the ones first and second in seniority. Do what the first and second in seniority ask you to do. If you refuse, then you are not following the rules. Do not do anything that you are not told, otherwise you are unruly too. There must be teachers and elders in the Buddha Dharma, in fact, that you cannot dismiss. Someone who left the home life one day later than you is a junior to you, while someone who left the home life one day earlier than you is a senior to you. Whoever left the home life first is older. Whoever left the home later is younger, regardless of your age. You can be 100 years old, but if you leave the home life later, you are junior. You can be 1 year old, but if you left the home life first, you are senior. The day you left the home life is your birthday in leaving the home life. At the time of your death, you must count up the number of your precept years. For instance, you may be 60 years of age, but you have 40 precept years. Whoever receives the precepts first is senior. Even during the same ordination, those who receive the precepts before you during the platform are your senior precept brothers. Those who receive the precepts later than you are your junior precept brothers. However, during the precept platform, everyone simply calls each other precept brothers instead of saying junior precept brother. Everyone is so polite that even if you are junior, you are called an elder precept brother. Also, your novices, young novices, must listen to the direction of more senior novices. Refusing to listen is insubordination, a sign of inferiority. Buddhist monastic rules emphasize a hierarchical order based on seniority and status. You cannot be the way you are at home. I usually do not have time to explain these rules for offerings to the Buddhas, so we have been casual. I was checking to see whether you are really stupid or wise. Wise individuals do not need to be taught. I never had anybody teach me, but I can tell right away. Idiots will not remember even if you teach them. Everything at all times and places show whether someone is wise. Before food is offered to the Buddha and the Sangha, do not eat it first. This is why lay people must wait until food is offered to the Buddhas before they can eat the food in the temple. They have to wait until the monastics come and everyone eats together. Do not eat before the monastics. That is not allowed. Things should be offered to the Buddha and the triple jewel in this manner. If there is laxness or transgression in this matter, by not paying attention, not doing a good job, or being casual, then the deceased will receive no strength from it. Do not make offerings to the triple jewel in a sloppy manner, because that way the deceased will not gain anything by it. But if purity is rigorously maintained in making the offering to the Buddhas and the Sangha, the deceased will receive 1/7 of the merit. Offerings must be done respectfully. I recall during the passing of offerings last year, everyone knelt to pass the offering and vegetarian food in bowls and plates to one another in turn, and then place them before the Buddhas. In the temple, everyone earnestly makes offerings to the Buddhas with numerous vegetarian dishes, possibly several dozen or 100 kinds. All these are placed in square plates and passed about. Some make offerings with recitation beads, some with clothes. Anything can be offerings to the Buddhas as long as it is new and good. Do not offer the Buddhas your unwanted items, rotten or bad goods. For example, someone bought some parsley to offer the Buddhas, but kept the tender and nice ones for himself, while giving me the tough and hard to chew. It does mean that he made offerings and it is not completely devoid of merit and virtue, but this is why we talk about being diligent, pay attention and taking care to make these offerings to the Buddhas and the Sangha on behalf of the deceased. Out of the 7 portions of merit, the deceased will receive 1 portion, while the other 6 portions are received by the living. Therefore, elder, by performing sincere vegetarian offerings for the triple jewel on behalf of deceased fathers, mothers, and other relatives, while making earnest supplication on their behalf, all beings of Southern Jambudvipa benefit both the living and the dead. After that was said, thousands of billions of narutas of ghosts and spirits of Jambudvipa who were in the palace of the Trayastrimsha Heaven made the unlimited resolve to attain Bodhi, Anuttara Samyak Sambuddhi. The elder great eloquence made obeisance to Earth-Star Bodhisattva and Shakyamuni Buddha and withdrew to the side. Not only should monastics bow to their master, the junior monastics should also bow to the seniors. Conversely, in American families, parents and siblings do not bother with one or each other at all. I do not care about you and you do not watch over me. You have to be this way because you are junior. Who told you to be junior? Who told you leave the home life later? Since you left the home life later, you have to respect your elders. It is a transgression not to respect your seniors, which is a violation of Buddhist rules that deserves death by fire in the future.